Ladies, good morning. Cece Lovelace Grace said she set an alarm for it this morning.
Oh, good. I tried to make a reminder yesterday. Awesome. I see we already got a mod here. Thanks for being
Got a
here.
couple mods. Good morning.
Oh, yeah.
I added some more last time.
Awesome.
Good morning. Oh, look, I want to listen to myself tell me good morning. I unplugged that. It's fine. It's not dead.
It's not. Okay.
No.
All right.
Cayley likes to forget to plug the tablet in every time. Oh, every time I move my feet, that rattles. So if we get shaky, y'all should see the setup I have here right now.
Sometimes we forget to plug my phone in too, and then we have to plug it in for the live. Well, good morning. How is everything going? I do have a topic today. I want to ask you guys, and you can put it in the chat all. Somebody said I have never made a live. Well, thanks for being here. First one.
Welcome.
I was going to ask you guys to put in the chat, and we'll say ours as well, but what is something that is going really well and right for you in your reselling business right now? And then one thing that you're currently struggling with. Someone also said, yes, finally made a live. Hey.
Welcome.
Hello from Kentucky, but you work in Cincinnati. Awesome. I want to go back down to Kentucky soon and go thrifting. There's some good places down there. And I just like Kentucky. Empty shelves. Yes, I know. It's weird.
We just set those up last week because we just finished another row and we knew we were going to need additional ones. So that's why they're empty, but I feel like they will fill very quickly. We'll have to keep you posted. So
yeah, I'm not sure if you guys saw that video. It was like a in the office vlog kind of thing where we unboxed Temu stuff, but I showed this area being completely empty, and so that's all that's what we're sitting in right now, is that empty space. And we have probably, what would you say, like 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 more rows of shelves before we need to back them, which I'm not looking forward to doing.
yeah, I'm going to say like 2 more. Probably 2 more rows. And then I think at that point, it's probably when we'll move them because I want to have some space to move around before we get stuck. So, Cayley's topic before we get in the weeds is to put in the comments something, or the chat, something that you guys have going well in your business. If you have questions, please feel free to start asking them. But if you can do me a solid and put question all in caps and then put them, or like put a bunch of emojis just because that draws my attention, and make sure that I don't miss them. So
yeah, and even if it's just something you're like, man, I'm struggling with this, can we just chat about it? Maybe someone else is struggling too. Yeah. Still go ahead and put those question marks in the beginning if you want to chat about it. What would you say?
I feel like organization has definitely gotten a lot better. I feel like as far as like processes and stuff have gone really well. We've really got things narrowed down, and I feel like we are at a really good spot with that. Also, I don't even want to say it because I'm kind of worried I'll jinx it, but I'm gonna just knock on the table here. But I'm pretty confident. I'm scared, but confident to say that sourcing has been going really well. Mm-hmm. I don't know what's been going on this year versus last year, but like normally summertime, we generally have a really hard time with sourcing, and it lasts for most of summer, which I know wholesale wise, we've gotten pretty lucky on stuff like that. But there's days where like Cayley, I, and woman number 2 have gone out sourcing and like come back with over 100 items in like a few hours. And that's huge. Like that's not something that we were able to do. So I'm gonna call those my two goodies.
Okay. Well,
what about you?
Before we jump into the stuff we're struggling with, yeah, I was just gonna say I feel like we've got a really good grasp on what our process is. I feel like we've cut down almost everything that we can in processes. Like I feel like we've been super efficient. And I feel like moving forward, I do think that there's some things, we may change, but I feel like for the most part, like our process is pretty set in stone. We might have a few tweaks here and there, but the way that we do things is like really solid, and those processes, like for the most part, aren't going to change. And I just feel really good that we've been doing like the same thing for the last year.
Yeah.
Like we've increased listings, we made some tweaks on a couple processes, but the core of it's all been the same, and it feels really good to, I guess, be in the groove of things and it to feel really good, be in a good spot.
That spreadsheet's been game changer too. We ended up making a spreadsheet for kind of like when we add people in. It has all the like photos take X amount of times, shipping takes X amount of time. So we're able to really just plug and play, where before we'd have to sit down and like pen on paper figure it out. Now we can say, okay, we know to improve or to increase, we have to list this many listings. Let's divide it between everybody who's here, and see what we can manage that direction. And honestly, that's been game changer too for us. So I'm moving this, so sorry.
I see a lot of people who are here live for the first time. I got it. Go ahead.
I moved it. I just kept making it rattle. Sorry, guys. I was trying to make sure we weren't wiggling.
I see a lot of people who are catching the live for the first time, so welcome. Glad you guys could make it. We are going to be more consistent with it again. We took a few weeks off just because we hired a new hire. But yeah, I think you're right. I think, you kind of mentioned, I don't know what the difference is between last year and this year is, not just for sourcing, but for me, like everything. I think it's that we finally realized like how to actually be efficient. And I feel like if we notice a problem, we're taking the time up front now to get it done instead of just constantly band-aiding things.
Yeah.
And even though it does take a lot more time up front, like creating that timing spreadsheet you talked about, well, now every time that we hire someone or we want to change a process or whatever, like it's literally, like she said, we plug in what we want to do, whereas before we'd have probably thought about it for like a whole week. Where now literally 30 minutes you can go in and be like, will this work or will it not? Plug and play. Like we've already done the work for that spreadsheet. So
yeah, it's been very convenient for sure.
Yeah. All right, let's see what some other people said were their pros, and then we'll jump into struggles.
I am technically skipping some questions just to read this, but I will come back, so nobody panic, okay? Checking comps, sourcing better, and consistency. That makes my heart happy.
Yes.
Doing well with listing 10 things a day and selling 10 things a day.
Ooh,
struggling with balancing work and home mom life.
Yes.
Made a really good connection for inventory, but having trouble with motivation and consistency. That's awesome, because honestly, that takes one thing off your plate. Finding luck with brands I didn't think held much value, which are really bumping up my sales. Catherine's Old Navy plus size is killing it for me. Awesome.
Yeah.
Going well is focusing on higher value items. Also found a new brand that sold overnight. Non-perfect linen for $80.
Huh, I haven't heard of that one. We'll have to look that up.
Good. Getting older inventory listed. Dusty Old Hat says learning new keywords and sourcing women's clothes and selling them.
So, all right, let's move on to, you guys can continue putting those in there if you want. And for everybody that joined, the question of the day was, or two questions of the day, what is one thing that is going really well for you right now in your business? And then what's one thing you're struggling with? What's one thing we're struggling with? I'll just say personally for me, I feel like something that we really struggle with is getting out to thrifting on time. Like you guys know that we have to travel pretty far to get, which is, a roadblock for us. It's already there. It's already a struggle. But because we have to travel far, we do want to ideally get out pretty much as soon as we come in the office. But for some reason, like every year after year, we do get better about it. But like, there's just always little things that pop up, things that we have to do here at the office. And that's one thing I'd like to improve on for myself, is just getting out faster every day, because I have noticed the days that just myself or both of us get out of the office faster to go sourcing, we're usually able to hit like one more thrift store that day, and we just we kill it that day. We're able to go to so many stores. So what do you think?
I feel like if we're gonna do that, we need to just not come in the building.
Yeah,
I mean that in all honesty. Like we handle things at home as much as we can, and anything else we need to handle when we get back, because I never leave when I'm supposed to leave anyways. So like if I just commit to saying, okay, we're going to get back at this time, and then I'm going to stay a half hour and make any adjustments. I think that would help. Things I think we're struggling with. A lot. I just
everything.
I feel like I struggle with. This is not about you guys, okay? For the record, I don't want anybody playing songs later about it. I feel like every new person that we hire is a different learning experience, and every time I think we're prepared for what that looks like, and then every new person comes, we kind of realize what went right and what went wrong and what we wouldn't do again. And so I think that that's definitely a place where we had some opportunity. I think we're doing a lot better. This last hire, I think, has been pretty good. We definitely made some changes in that process. But I think it's still a learning curve for sure. Yeah. It's definitely gotten a lot better. The process is a lot smoother. I
think part of that just comes with understanding that like everybody is different and has different learning techniques, and I feel like we're getting better about that, about understanding that and adjusting to everyone's strengths and weaknesses.
Yeah. I don't know, other struggles. I feel like my biggest struggle is change. I hate change with a passion. So I have a really hard time making I don't want to say making adjustments. I'll make an adjustment, but you have to like give me 100% reasons why it's going to work before I'm willing to just jump ship. I'm not a jump ship kind of person. So
can you all relate? I feel like everyone can relate to that.
Yeah. I think that's what's kind of good about us though, is like you see things in a different way than I do, and I do the same thing. And we kind of, I think, go to start something, and like Cayley and I start with a conversation, and she'll say, hey, I think, or I'll say, hey, I think, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, I'm not going to tell you any of my thoughts. I want you to tell me your thoughts first. And then we kind of like work through our mindset. So then I have a chance to kind of bench whatever I'm thinking, or she does. And then once the other person kind of, I think, works through everything in their mind, then we're like, okay, this is what I see and this is what I'm thinking about. These are points you had that I never thought about. These are points I had that I can tell you didn't think about. Let's work through them together, and I think that helps us work through stuff a lot faster. But
a lot of meeting in the middle and covering all points. Dusty Old Hat said, I also hate change. He uses Coinstar.
Coinstar's expensive. They take so much money now. You can go to the bank and they will take your jars of change. You're getting robbed, Dusty Old Hat.
All right, what were some of people's struggles, or did you already read through them?
I did, but I didn't read through all of them. Struggles. Let's see. Struggling with balancing work and home / mom life.
Big one.
Preach. I'm going to say this, and maybe I shouldn't say this, but if I had to work from home every day, I don't know that I would be nearly as efficient as what I am. So, like, I think if I am a mom, so I'm just putting that out there. I'm a mom of 2, one that's 5 and one that's 10. But I think if I like did this business from my house, I think that I would have. Oh, I thought she needed help.
She's good. I thought she needed something.
I think I would have to have like dedicated time outside of the outside of the home to do it. Yeah. Whether that's like going to a library, going to a coffee shop, like if you have an office space, like I think I would have to arrange and set time to make it happen. When my kids are sick and I work from home, I will put your ears on. I will literally work from like 8 a.m. to like 10 p.m. because I get interrupted so many times. But like, it's not Cayley's fault. It's just they are a distraction, and it does make it really hard to get stuff done. So in reality, I'm only completing an 8-hour day worth of stuff, but it takes me 12 to get it done because they are such a distraction.
Yeah, Shy really struggled with that, and we talked about that a lot during, well, actually both of her interviews. So if you haven't watched those 2 interviews with my sister, she's in the same boat, and she actually did believe for a long time that it could be done with her kids there. And I was like, girl, I'm telling you, like, I know I'm not a mom and I have no room to talk, but like, I'm telling you, I feel like you'd get so much more done and feel so much better.
You do.
And she did get to that point, but it's a big struggle. It's hard. It's tough. And then
you feel like you're working all the time.
Yeah.
And you really are, but in reality, it's just broken up time that you don't you're not as efficient, I guess.
Yeah. And I dealt with that, not even distractions from kids, like just distractions from stuff at home that needed to be done when I worked at home. Your phone, people calling you, people texting you, like you don't realize how inefficient broken up time actually is.
Heidi talks about trouble with motivation.
Yeah. Motivation. Motivation's probably the hardest to overcome, I feel like, because I feel like it's different for everyone.
What would you say motivates you the most?
Motivates me?
Yeah, as far as like coming to work and getting stuffed. Almost said bad words, stuffed done.
I'm very motivated by freedom, whether that's time freedom, financial freedom, like freedom to do whatever I want. Like I'm really motivated by freedom and making my own decisions and choices. And so for me, time freedom is a big one, and that I know if I get everything, if I just smash it out and I'm like the most efficient I possibly can be, I can get things smashed out and then I can go home and not have to think about work anymore. Because that was a main reason I started reselling, was because I was constantly working. Even when I was home, I was thinking about work because I was constantly, not even like because I wanted to be thinking about it, because I had to think about it. And for me, time freedom is so important. So I love, 8 to 4 and then having weekends off and not thinking about it. So for me, that's really important, and that's why I try to be efficient, because I don't want to have a whole day where I'm working morning to night and everything's intermingled. I want there to be separation, and so for me, time freedom is a big part of it. What about you?
I think time freedom is a big one. Obviously, with having kids, like I want to be able to be off at a specific time and pick them up. My old job prior to working with Cayley, I worked, I don't even know, way too many hours. It was ridiculous, and was like
Unlimited
on call all
hours.
the time. Yeah, you could get called in the middle of the night and they expect you to be there in like 30 minutes. It was just insane. So I don't want to do that again. Time's definitely one. I'm also going to get real for a second and tell you that I'm very motivated by guilt. I don't know why that's a thing with me. That's probably my weakness, if I had to say, that I feel like in order to feel good about myself, I have to work twice as hard as anybody else, because if I don't, then I don't feel good about it. And I don't know why I'm like that, but I am.
I feel that too. I feel like that's just having work ethic.
I feel like
it can be extreme and detrimental, though.
Yeah, I feel like I have to pull twice as much weight as anybody else, or I don't feel like it looks like I've tried hard enough. And I don't know. I struggle with that. But I also don't ever want, I tell Cayley this all the time. She's like, girl, are you ever going to take time off? And I'm like, I will, but I have to feel good about it first. And like, if I have to take a day off, I feel horrible about it the entire time. It's like playing hooky. Like, and she never, for the record, she never makes me feel like that. But I am like the kind of person that I do not feel like I can take time off until everything is finished. And if there's anything left on the plate, like, it has to be done. That might be like partial OCD, I guess, in a way.
It's very true about her. Yeah.
But I definitely, like, if there's a list, I will cross everything off that list before I go home. Now, once it's done, it's done. But I'm not a, like, roll over your stuff to the next day kind of person. Like, it has to be finished. I have to have a clean slate.
Yeah.
I don't know. A lot of people are saying that they feel like they could improve on listing faster. I have 3 of those comments, actually. So maybe we can do a live about how to improve listing efficiency.
I've actually been getting comments about it. I just want to point out Cha-Ching King is here. And he said he gets filled with guilt in all caps when he takes a day off. So
yeah.
What is that about, guys? I think it's because in reselling you feel like it's always a hustle, and you feel like there's so much competition that you have to hustle. Like you have to get ahead because there's so many things to do. There's other people doing the same thing. Like, is that what it is?
I think for me, I was that way obviously before I came here. Like, that's been my way, I think, for a long time. And I think it's because previous employer, like, if you left your plate half full for the next day, there was all kind of things that were going to happen, and then your plate was going to be over full, and then you would get to a point where, like, you just could not, there's no way. You were not going to get ahead, and then at the end of the week, you had an accountability meeting, and if you weren't finished, then your ass is grass. I'm going to say that on YouTube, but I I think that that's kind of where mine comes from. I also think it has to do with mom guilt is kind of a thing that like I can't think about what's next at home if I'm still thinking about what's going on at work, and
Yeah.
I can't be as like in the moment with my kids if I'm still thinking about what's going on here.
That's true. Someone just put, I'm paraphrasing because the comment went up, so I can't read it word for word, but someone said that consistency is pushed so hard in the reseller community that you're almost afraid to take a day off because you're worried about it messing up your sales and messing up the algorithm. And I 100% think that's true. And that is the main reason why we schedule ahead, so that we don't constantly feel, I guess, like we can't take a day off because we already have it, prepared ahead of time. But if we were not scheduled ahead, I definitely think that I would be here working every day just because I would feel that guilt too. But
Scott said that it's an outgrowth of imposter syndrome. I have to keep working so no one knows I'm faking it. I would say that's 100% true.
Yeah.
Because I feel like everybody always tells me that I give the persona that I have my crap together, and I am literally just on a roller coaster that's going 5,000 miles an hour and I have no clue what's going on. I'm just really good at pretending. So I feel like that does play a huge factor in it too.
It's okay not to be perfect, right?
Oh yeah,
It's okay not to get stuff done sometimes.
I mean, I'll tell you all the time, I'm not perfect. Like, there's no way. I am far from it. But
no, I don't think you think that about
I
yourself.
just
It's okay if things aren't perfect, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, but I have guilt when they aren't. So
yeah,
just I don't know. We're going really in the weeds. We're getting very emotional here, so we're gonna
look at questions.
Go somewhere else.
If you guys want to share any more of yours, we may not address them directly, but we will read them here in the comments. But we're talking about question when we first started the live was, what's something that's going really well in your business right now, and what's something that you guys really struggle with? All right. Do we have some questions?
We do.
I thought I saw some coming through. We're gonna dive into questions now. We have, oh my gosh, we have 172 people here. Thank you guys so much for getting on. Don't forget to give us a thumbs up. Take a second. It really helps the channel and boost this in the algorithm. We already have to fight eBay's algorithm, but I got to fight YouTube algorithm too. Thank you guys for being here. Hi, little Miss Nat. I see you in the chat too.
Hey. Okay. I'm just gonna answer some of these if they're quick and easy.
Okay.
Flipping good stuff. We ship in the bag. So every time we put inventory in them and label them, we just put a sticker over top the inventory label and ship that way. It's like a secondary protection for the items as they're shipped. And then we just use new ones. You could totally reuse them though if you were trying to save money.
Someone said this feels like a reseller therapy. It kind of is.
Sorry, I don't know why I got a little personal there. So, is there a way to schedule listings for Mercari?
I am probably not the best person to ask because I haven't been on Mercari for a while, but the last time I was on there, I do not believe that there was a way to schedule.
Maybe there's somebody in the box, the comment box, chat box that lists on Mercari regularly and would know, but we do not know. Carol, I just checked. We have 5,748 listings. That's a lot.
Yeah.
Do you have a separate bank account for your eBay and your YouTube?
Yes, I currently do. That was not always the case, but I currently do now. Yes.
Hey, welcome. Love you guys being here. How long did it take for you guys to get a warehouse?
Oh gosh. I got a place probably, I want to say 1.5 to 2 years into full-time reselling. I did like dabble as a hobby before that, but about 1.5 to 2 years is when I got the first office that you guys have seen in videos. And then we've been in this office for only a year, a little over a year now. But it took me about 1.5 to 2 years before I got it. And that was just my situation. I do feel like I probably jumped the gun on that, but I'm honestly glad that I did because I had that house fire and who knows what would have happened had that. I literally moved my stuff like couple weeks beforehand, so it's crazy to think about what would have happened if not. But
we would not be here right now. I can say that much. Yeah.
Just remember, guys, like, don't compare your journey with mine or with anyone else here on YouTube. Just because I got a warehouse, you know, at that time does not mean that you should. Had I had other places to store that stuff in my house, I wouldn't have gotten one. I would have kept trying to fill up my house until the last moment possible. But I had stuff in every nook and cranny and spewing out into my garage. So just remember not to compare yourself to that. Really look at your own business and make sure it's right for you.
Allie and Ann, we upcharge a little bit on Posh just to allow for offers, but nothing like drastic. If it's under $40, we just add $5, and if it's over $40, we add $10. We're welcome for all you people who are just getting on for the first time. We appreciate you guys being here. CC Lovelace Grace said it'd be nice to go through the processes again with them since we've cut down and changed things. So we should do a video on that soon.
Yeah. We need to also do the bulk uploading drafts video. I know you guys have been wanting to see that. It's kind of a complicated process, which is why we've held off on doing it, because not everybody that watches us, like probably very few people are going to take that and use it, but we do still need to make that as well.
Shardy says, what was the most you were able to gross before you decided you needed to hire help while it was only just you? I want to be full-time, but I don't think I would ever want to hire someone.
Well, again, cost of living in my area is going to be a lot different than cost of living in your area. I honestly can't remember what my gross numbers were at that time. But I can tell you I probably did it much sooner than you guys would or should, because I had another job to fall back on. I had my family's business that I help in, so I had another form of income, which allowed me to be more risky and which allowed me to get things sooner and grow faster. So again, comparison wise, you got to look at your own numbers. So I'm really hesitant to say that, but I really honestly don't remember my gross numbers. I just remember thinking there's no way that I'm going to be able to reach my goals by myself. And that's when I started hiring help.
I just realized forever ago we got a comment about sound. Can you guys hear us good enough? Oh. Just making sure. I'm going to bench us for a second.
Can one of the mods tell us if you can hear us?
Somebody asked if we could turn the volume up, which we can't, but I just wanted to make sure everybody can hear us pretty well. And I'm so sorry if somebody couldn't earlier, and I literally just got it.
Most people are saying they can hear us just fine. I do see one person that said it's slow and not clear. It might be the device you're on or your internet speed, but it sounds like most people can hear us just fine. So we're going to keep pressing forward.
I'm going to scoot this a little
Might
closer.
Also like close out and come back into the live, refresh the feed a little bit.
Yeah, sometimes it does some weird things. So, okay. Sorry guys. I just saw that, and then I was like, oh, what if you've been having this whole conversation and nobody's heard anything you've been saying? That'd be bad.
That would be bad.
Okay. CC Lovelace Grace said, I'd love to see some of these spreadsheets. They sound brilliant.
Yeah, so what are all these? We don't have to go into all of them, but like, what are some of the ones we have? So we have our sourcing spreadsheet. We've done a video on that. That is the same. Well, it's not the same, but it's part of what we use to upload drafts onto eBay. So we take the information that we enter while we're sourcing to create a shell of a draft essentially on eBay. That one's been really good. We have a lot of timing spreadsheets, which basically calculate if it takes us this much time to do this task, and then it like calculates the total for a day, how much time we should be spending every day. And all Nikki has to do is go and say, okay, we're currently having woman number 2 do 45 listings. If we want her to do 50 listings in a day, what does that look like? And she literally goes in and changes 45 to 50 and it spits out the rest of the numbers, which is awesome. On the same page, like if we change a process, which we have done recently, and like photos, for instance, let's say they used to take us 5 minutes. If we change a process and it now takes us 3 minutes to do photos, she would go in and immediately change that to 3 minutes per photo. And it's just so much simpler, but she did all that work up front. Another one that we have is like goals. If I have a goal for myself and for the team to reach a gross sales amount, let's say I want to do 30,000 this month, I have a breakdown of formulas that I can just plug and play numbers to figure out how many would we have to list, how many would we have to source, what would our average sale price have to be. So lots of great spreadsheets. That all happened over time when we got tired of calculating them by hand every single time.
We got tired of doing a lot of that stuff.
Yeah.
Tips for increasing sales on eBay when you're doing well on Poshmark but not on eBay.
Well, I'm just assuming things, so you can tell me if I'm wrong, but it sounds like Poshmark was your main platform and then you started listing on eBay, which in most cases means that you're less consistent on your secondary platform. And eBay requires consistency, as do most platforms, but eBay is really a beast in that sense where you have to be consistent. And so I would say make sure to give it the same amount of attention that you're giving Poshmark. There's probably a reason that your Poshmark sales are higher, is because you're focused on it, you know how it works, you're able to list quickly on there, you know where all the buttons are, whereas you're probably learning with eBay, so you're less consistent on there. So I would really figure it out and commit full-time effort, the same amount of effort that you're giving to Poshmark, and be consistent. And that's honestly the reason we did not do as well on Mercari as we could have. And the reason that we dropped Mercari was because we were like, this is a third platform. We're not doing as well on it as the other platforms, but we did recognize it was because we were not giving a full effort on there and we were not able to put everything into action over there. Any advice for eBay?
I would just do some more research into the items that you're listing and seeing kind of what everybody else is doing for those items that have sold, and see if there's anything that you can do similar to those to kind of learn eBay's quirks. I think every selling platform has a quirk, and until you learn each one, it's definitely one of those things that could take you a little bit longer.
And Poshmark requires way less information too than eBay, and I think that's where a lot of people get hung up, is even if you are being consistent, if you're not filling in all of those eBay drop downs, if you're not optimizing your title, it can be more difficult. Whereas Poshmark, you can type in pretty much whatever you want and it's all going to come up in search. That's not the case for eBay. So you have to be pretty thorough on there in order to see sales. And I think that that would be one of the quirks that you're talking about with that platform.
Dusty Old Hat says he tried eBay coupons this weekend and made so much money. So shout out. Hopefully maybe some of the rest of you guys will try some coupons soon, and hopefully they'll work out for you guys as well. Alicia says, I started selling on Posh. Nope, I lied. I started selling in September and have been consistently listing 7 a day for 2 months now. I am now averaging 5 to 8 sales per day, but I'm nervous about summer slowdown.
Yeah, I mean, especially when you're a newer reseller, like it can be very shocking, especially because sometimes your sales can even be cut in half. And I think I even told you that when you started. I was like, hey, because you started like in spring, right? So
April.
Yeah, so I was like, hey, we're about to cut, like you came into basically summer slowdown, and then I was like, just so you know, here in a few months when we hit like November, December, because you were like, well, how much are we talking that it's going to increase? And I was like, I would say like double, expect double the amount of packages. And I think probably at the time you're like, okay,
yeah,
it's a drastic difference, Our strategy, and maybe this would help you, is first of all, you have to expect a slowdown. And once you expect that, kind of like you feel better about it. You don't get as wrapped up in things. When you become super emotional about it, you get less work done, and that's why sales drop. Like, that's just my opinion. But if you can hold out and remain consistent through the summer slowdown, once Q4 hits, all your consistency and all your listing is really going to pay off, and you will more than likely see your sales double in those months, which will make up for everything else. But the key is not to get discouraged and to remain consistent. And one thing that Nikki and I like to do during the summer, because it is slower, is really hone in on processes. Like, take the time while it's slow to figure everything else out. Take the time that you don't get during the busy seasons and figure everything out. But it can be tricky to navigate. It can be discouraging, but I think if you know that it's happening, it'll be good. And what kind of seems to happen with our sales is there's summer slowdown. Once Q4 hits, our sales will increase, and then we stay at that until the next Q4. So it's like literally a graph like this year after year. And if you kind of expect that, I think it's less of a blow.
I would also suggest planning ahead. So if you know summer's going to be slow, if you can source ahead and start getting those listed, that's going to give you more of a chance to kind of already be ahead of the game for summer. We also try to increase listings going into summer just to kind of prevent some of the like drop. We do have to ship more and obviously sell more to keep the same amount of money, because generally the cost for each item is a little bit different as far as what the percentage of I guess profit for each one is.
Why is that?
Because they're typically less desirable items, less jackets, less coats, more shorts, more just cheaper items in general. But if you could get ahead theoretically and plan to be ahead, then yeah, I think it would help. So Alicia says, is there a percent you expect, or is it a myth? I'm assuming a percent of profit for each item.
Okay. Yeah, clarify if that's not right. If you're talking about a percent per profit, the myth part's what's catching me up. The percent of profit just depends. I mean, it's different for each item, right? It depends on how much you paid for the item. It depends on how much you sold the item for. It depends on your fees and which platform you sold on, and if you gave any shipping discounts. So I'm not sure where the myth thing is coming from. But on eBay, at least, typically this is excluding warehouse, excluding employees. Like, this is just the sale itself and cost of goods included and fees and all that. Usually it's about a 50% profit. When we sell a $25 item on eBay that we picked up for $5, we usually make $15 profit on it. But then you have to count like personal taxes and stuff. But I would really dig into your numbers and figure out for your area your cost of goods. I think it's really eye-opening once you guys do that.
Rhonda, if I mainly sell on Poshmark, is checking comps on eBay as you do also a good indicator for reselling on Posh? I understand your comp sell-through video as it relates to eBay, but what about Posh sell-through rates? eBay is the primary, so that's why we always comp on eBay. There are ways to technically comp things on Poshmark and look through them on Poshmark. I'm not going to tell you that eBay is always going to be exactly the same as Posh, or Posh is going to be the exact same as eBay, but I think they both trend very similarly, that I think you'd be mostly okay.
Yeah, generally speaking, the brands that are popular on eBay are also the brands that are popular on Poshmark. There are some exceptions, so I'm not going to say wholeheartedly, but even if I, like, knowing what I know now, if I were to only list on Poshmark, I would still use eBay to comp, because eBay spits out the amount of search results, like the number at the top. It'll be like 218 available listings per your search, and then it will also do solds and spit that same number out. On Poshmark, it doesn't do that, and you're not going to count. You know what I mean? So it's just too hard to determine sell-through rate on Poshmark. So if you're focused on a high sell-through rate model like we are, if I were only listing on Poshmark, I would still do my comps on eBay. Good morning.
So a lot of people saying they're joining live for the first time.
Yeah, I noticed that. That's cool.
Sorry, I'm reading for questions again. Question. I found one. Keywords. Can you just paste keywords that are relevant, or is that considered keyword spam? Do you need to use it in a sentence? I saw it could be bad to spam, but what if relevant words work? We literally, like, I don't have an example, but like, if we're thinking keywords, like, say jeans, I'll literally just put like casual, everyday, staple. Maybe I'll do like medium wash or dark wash, mid rise, like just basic things to describe it. We do not use them in a sentence. We literally just put style profile, colon, details. That's it.
It's not spamming if it's relevant.
Any suggestions on how to increase sales? We've given you all kinds of ideas on how to increase sales. Stick with us. And then if you have questions, Stephanie,
be
specific, let us know. But consistency is for sure the most important thing. Dusty Old Hat brings up a good point. Time chunking is very important too. It doesn't make sense to do one photo and then go make dinner and then go back and do another photo and then eat dinner and then go back and do another photo and then, I don't know, do something else. So I think that would be kind of a good shout out, is to make sure that you're chunking your time as much as what you can.
I saw some comment earlier that said that they started putting a full-time effort into eBay and they immediately noticed a difference, which was cool.
Stephanie also says, just started selling on eBay and having a hard time getting views. Any suggestions?
I would say don't focus on your views unless your views are 0. But views don't matter necessarily. As long as you filled out a truthful, complete listing and you have a desirable item, as long as you price it correctly, it will sell. And someone could literally view, you could have one view on an item and it could sell because that right buyer found the right item and it's exactly what they're looking for. And on the other side, you could have 300 views on an item and no one's buying it. Views and watchers do not matter, and we do not individually look at views. The only exception would be if you're getting 0 views on your items. But if you're getting 0 views on your items, there's probably something wrong with your listing. Something's incorrect in there, or it's in the wrong category.
All right, question. It's not really a question, it was a comment, but I'm turning it into a question.
Okay.
Ashley said, I just took a week off for the first time, and it's amazing how productive I am since I got back. I was so against taking one off, but the benefit has been amazing.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on reseller burnout?
Oh, it happens so fast and so easy. Like, so fast. I honestly don't even know that I love thrifting anymore. Like,
yeah.
I told Nikki this the other day, because we've been talking back and forth. There was a point in time where we were sourcing every day and driving away, and it was very exhausting for both of us, and we didn't enjoy it anymore. But I think I came to the conclusion that I really love thrifting as long as I don't feel the pressure to have a certain amount of items. Once that pressure is applied, and I feel like I'm running behind and things aren't getting done, I hate every minute of it. It's exhausting. But burnout happens so quickly, and that's so insightful. Like, I took time off and I was more productive. There's tons of studies about that, not just reselling, but like, you can't be the most productive you if you're not in the right headspace. So taking time off can make you way more efficient. But I definitely have and still do at times feel burnout, but I feel like I'm a lot better now at knowing what triggers it and avoiding those triggers. So
knowing when you need to take a half day versus, I think if you say you're like, I don't know, kind of starting to get burnout, but you don't make an arrangement to take like a half day, like, okay, I'm going to go in and I'm really going to bust through stuff because I'm taking my afternoon back. I think if you keep pushing and pushing and pushing, eventually you do have to take an extended amount of time off, which does in turn, I think, cause more issues. I think it's easier to say, no, I'm going to make time today and I'm going to go get a lunch or with my, my mom or a friend, or I am going to take time this week and we are going to take a day off and we are going to do something fun. We even implement that with our employees too.
Yeah.
Every now and then we'll say, today, we're not working. We're going to go do something fun. We're going to go take a day to just relax, get to know each other, spend time together. I think that that's really important because not only do we get burnout, but they do too. So
yeah, absolutely.
Bye, Scott.
Why do you work if you can't have fun later? I
Yeah.
did that, was it last week? Last week when I saw my mom and my sister both.
Yeah.
But like, I had all this pressure on myself, even though and I'm kind of like Nikki in that aspect where like I have very high standards for myself too, that if I don't achieve them, like it really hurts me on the inside. And like, that's nobody's problem but my own. But like,
Yeah.
we were already sourced like almost 3 weeks ahead. I didn't even need to source that day, but I told myself, this is what I do. Like, I do it every day. And I was like, well, I'm going to have lunch with my mom this day. Well, I ended up not getting anything. Well, I think I got like 5 items that day. But there came a point where I was like, really thinking in the back of my mind, like, you're not going to get anything today. And I was like, why am I even thinking about that? Like, I'm supposed to be spending time with my mom and my sister. Like, there's no reason to be thinking about that. We are sourced so many weeks ahead. And so I ended up only going to one place and getting 5 things that day, but I had to like have that conversation in my mind, like, why are you being
yourself
so hard on yourself? Like, chill out and like enjoy the moment.
Sapphire, I would say if you're going to a store and like our first rule is if you go to a store and it doesn't go well the first time, you still need to go back. You need to try a different day, you need to try a different time, give it a reason to kind of shake out. Maybe it was just a fluke for you as to why you went there and it wasn't good. But I would say if you consistently go to the same place and all you ever find after going through absolutely everything is 6 items, you probably need to look in a different area and see what else you can come up with. On general days, we try to leave a store with like 30 to 40. If we're not getting that from one store, I would say if you're not getting at least 5 to 10 items from each store, it's probably not one that you want to invest a lot of time in. You could still run in and just like quick go over new racks or whatever else, but we do have stores that we have just quit going to because they're not as profitable. But again, we try different days, we try different times, we go multiple times just to make sure. Because it's possible that another reseller may be going the same time every week. If you go every, I don't know, Wednesday at noon, maybe there's another reseller that plans to get there every Wednesday at 10 a.m. If you could beat them and get there ahead of them, you might have a chance to kind of get ahead.
And are you using, or have you tried? You don't have to do it, but it sounds like you're going through every hanger. Have you tried the new color method? If not, might be a way to get through faster, skip over the non-profitable items so that you can get to more thrift stores.
I would plan on going to additional stores too. Cayley and I typically only get through like 2 to 3 a day, which sounds like that's not a whole lot, but we drive pretty far as well.
At least 3 hours on sourcing days. Yeah.
Just thought I would try to hit more, see what else is out there. I wouldn't necessarily shuck it out and say, no, you're not going anymore, but you might find that you have better luck somewhere else. Let's just take a second and talk about, I'm going to butcher this. I'm going to say Row House Collecting. I could totally be butchering your name, but here's the quote. I'm getting my resignation letter together to turn in by next week. 16 years of teaching, and I'm finally ready to go full-time as a reseller.
Wow.
That's so exciting.
Congrats.
So,
That's awesome.
Congrats.
I bet you're so excited and so ready. I remember when I put in my resignation, I was like, I cannot wait. It seemed like time stood still. I was like, let's get these 2 weeks over with. Like, I cannot wait to be done with this.
I sobbed like a baby for 2 weeks. I'm not even kidding. It was so hard to leave everybody, but it was a good thing. It was what I needed for me and for my mental health, so it's definitely good. Do you create bundles for every like in Poshmark so you can make an offer, or do you just offer to likers once a week or so? We offer to likers, but we do that every day. Like, it's set with Posh VA, so as soon as they like it, I think it's 5 minutes after, it just automatically sends them that offer. And we always just do, 10% and then discounted shipping?
Yep.
And it just automatically kind of starts the process. We do have people that message us and say, like, hey, I'm actually going to do a bundle. Like, can you, when I'm done adding things to my bundle, I'll comment if you could just give me a bundle deal. And then we roll with that. But we found that it's easier to catch them while they're still on the site currently looking and get a discount, because most people are like, oh, this person's giving me 10% off and a discount, that shows that they're like willing to make deals, and I bet that I can get a discount. And it works.
You know that what they said, that there are some people that spend all day doing that. They will go through every like on their notification page, click into the buyer, go to their bundle, switch to sell view, add all their likes, offer them a bundle deal, and then they'll go back to their notification page and they'll go to every single. That's what they're talking about.
I would not do that. I
That's
feel
a
like
lot of time.
that's a huge commitment, and if they don't buy stuff, then you just wasted your time doing it.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
List more items instead.
I got the most ridiculous lowball offers this week. Anyone else? I don't know.
Every day.
Offers.
Yeah. Every day.
Closet clear out question. How do you get traction? I do it, but no bites. I get more sales from offers with no shipping. What is it with the ads on Poshmark?
I don't know about the ads, but I find closet clear out to be very effective. We drop our prices every single month, so anything 90 days or older. I actually have a video about that if you want to look it up. If you type in Cayley, Elaine drop prices or something, I talk about how I do that every single month. Why does it work for us? Probably because we have almost 6,000 items, so the likelihood of something selling is probably very likely, but we also try to pick up really desirable items and high sell-through rate. So you figure if you're constantly putting high sell-through rate things in your closet, and then you're also offering a discount, and that day Poshmark will pay their discounted shipping, like that's like 3 reasons to get an item. Like it's almost impossible to say no to that. So I would say if you're not getting traction, it's possible that you're not putting desirable enough items in your closet, because you can drop prices on, I don't even want to call it a brand because they're a brand. We've picked up stuff in every brand that can be profitable based on factor stacking, but let's say you pick up an item with a very, very low sell-through rate. It doesn't really matter how many times you drop prices. People are not going to buy it because it's not a desirable item.
Agree. On eBay, Cayley sends out offers a couple times a day, just like bulk sending offers. But as far as like getting so many full price sales, I think it goes back into just what she was saying, is that we are listing desirable items and we're making sure that we're doing the research on them. We're listing by style names. We're making sure that we're like really getting down to the nitty gritty and getting them into the right hands of people. But honestly, that's really it.
Thank you, Little Miss Nat, for dropping that video link for everyone. You're awesome.
You're the MVP. We love you. The rent here, Dusty Old Hat, is pretty cheap. We've been lucky that it's just kind of fallen in our lap, but yes, it doesn't always happen like that.
Very cheap.
Do you feel like you missed out on sales by scheduling listings, opposed to if it's not listed, it's not selling mentality? No.
I feel like I did when we first transitioned, because it is weird when you move on from that. Like when you started, that was just how we did it, so you didn't see it that way. But for me, I was listing stuff or setting active the same day I was listing. So yes, I did go through that, but it only took like 2 weeks to realize, oh, this is way better, and if I need to take a day off, I can. Like there's so much cushion by being ahead that you become way more consistent because you have that cushion. It's kind of like taking a day off, like how that person said, I became so much more productive because I took a vacation. Same thing. Because I got ahead, I became way more productive because I never wanted to lose that cushy part of having weeks worth of listings. So it made sales better. And no, I do not regret it at all. But there was a small part of me for the first couple of weeks that was like, wait a minute. But it totally worked out. It's worth it.
Jackie, we do share things from the Posh Closet every day. We actually do it a couple times a day, but again, that's all done through a VA, Posher VA. It does seem like a lot. I know down here further, somebody made a comment about Posh does have a lot of different, like, I'm going to call it hoops to jump through to like stay relevant. I don't know how anybody honestly does that with as many listings as what we have without a Posh or VA or like something similar.
Yeah.
I mean, at one point we did physically pay somebody to just handle all of that, but that was when we had probably like 2,500 listings. I can't even imagine if they had to do it now. It's been game changing. So,
Well, if you're someone who only has a couple hundred listings on Poshmark, you can use their bulk share, which we do sometimes if, things fall through the cracks. But that's a great option for someone who only has like a couple hundred items. I just want to make sure that the person that asked that is aware that they can bulk share through Poshmark, not any other service, but through Poshmark. You can bulk share your items, and it's like a click a couple things, keep scrolling till it's to the bottom, share it, and that process only takes like 30 seconds, and then you just let your phone sit there or your computer. So if you're not aware of that, you could be saving some time doing that.
Scott, I know you're gone, but maybe you'll come back and watch the replay. But we currently have Cayley, myself, and 2 others as far as employees go.
Yeah, our team has changed a lot in the last year, I'll say. But yeah, currently it's just 4 people.
Mm-hmm. How many Posh listings do you think you should have before having a VA to do all of your sharing and offers for it to be worth it? I don't know. I feel like my mental cutoff is like 2,500. I feel like once you have more than that, that's just a lot.
Yeah, it goes back to it kind of depends on what your goals are and what you have time to do. I think this is just me, but I would say if I had more than 500 listings on Poshmark, I would just invest in Posh or VA or another service, because it's literally you set it, forget it. You can schedule shares. You don't even like have to go in every day and do it on Posh or VA. You can schedule them and it's done. And they do everything else too. You can send out offers. So like you don't have to do, it eliminates all that fluff. All you have to do is answer questions and ship out your items. Like,
yeah,
it's
so easy.
For me, I would say 500. Again, that's a personal preference though.
Sapphire, you asked a question about new color tags. I'm just gonna pretty much say ditto to Dusty Old Hat's comment below that. I think every store you go to, whether it's a Goodwill or any other like thrift chain, I'm gonna call it, they each have their own strategy for like getting in items and I guess clearing out old items. So if you're ever curious about what your area does, because I don't personally know about Pennsylvania, is you should go and talk to an employee. I mean, just pull the friendly card and go in and be like, hey, it's nice to meet you. Yeah, I used to work for a store in my area. I used to live, just make it up. I used to live in Ohio and this is what we used to do. And then see, most times you can talk them into like telling you everything that you need to know about the store. But they should be willing to tell you, do they rotate new colors every week? What is the sequence? If you don't know, do what Cayley did and say, okay, this week the color's red. Put it into a text note on your phone. The next week,
Purple.
then you could do, okay, it's purple. Then the next week, okay, it's gray. So then you can put it in and then just keep an order of it. And then the next time it goes back through, verify again that it makes sense. And then you kind of figure out how it works. We have stores we go to that do not follow a pattern like that. And we've kind of had to figure it out on our own. We've had some where we were able to just ask and kind of figure it out. But the biggest go-to that I can tell you to do without talking to anybody and without any research is to look for a new rack, whether that's a new rack of clothes or like home good items coming out, and see what color those are. Generally, those are always brand new, and if you go pull all those items and match those, then that's probably going to be the newest items that are coming out.
What if there isn't a new rack? Because there's still a way you could determine it. How would you determine what the new colors, or how do we determine if there's not a new rack what the new color typically is?
I feel like this isn't where you're going, but this is what I would do. I look for clusters. So, yeah. Okay, I wasn't sure if that's where you're going.
Bins and clusters.
Yeah, I look at clusters. So like I don't know how to explain this in a different way, but you have all like the items hanging up. You'll notice like a chunk of hangers that are put in all the exact same way. Maybe they're raised up a little bit higher than the other ones, like they're angled a little bit different. Also, most of the tabs are brand new, right? They were just pinned, so they're all sticking out in just the same way. They're not like bent or like curved in with anything else. The other thing is, I don't know if anybody here works in a thrift store, and if you are, I'm not talking about you, but thrift store employees are lazy. And they always just hang stuff up at the end of the racks because they don't want to walk through all of the aisles to find things. You can also look for size markers. So, like, if, say, you're in a row of tops and it's small here and then medium starts here, where that size division is, a lot of times you'll find them as well because it's the end or the beginning of a new size. So those are our tips and tricks.
So there's some expert level sourcing tips. Good morning, everyone. 250 people watching. Thanks for being here.
Sorry, I'm looking for questions. If you add new questions, can you guys please make sure you put questions, like questions spelled out, or a bunch of question marks at the beginning, or some emojis, just because I feel like I'm going to skip some. So if I do, please comment it again. I'm not trying to skip anybody.
It's never intentional.
No.
Unless it's a bad comment. We might skip those.
Yeah. We do not, MN Connect, we do not change titles on eBay before cross-posting to Poshmark. eBay, Poshmark List Perfectly, all of them allow for the same amount of characters now, which is great. Bye, Dusty Old Hat. We do not change them. And the reason I do not change them is because when we run an inventory sheet, that's a way for me to quickly be able to compare inventory on eBay List Perfectly and Poshmark. I would say if you can afford to keep all the titles the same, I would recommend doing so, just for inventory. On the ends, woman, on the ends of the racks, they have numbers.
Yeah, I know.
Okay. I just want to make sure because I wasn't sure if you'd pulled anything off closets. Yeah. Okay. Sorry.
Here's a question. Why?
I didn't know if you wanted your name said or not. So I was like, hey, woman.
Why would a title be good enough for eBay but not be good enough for Poshmark?
That's a good shout out.
I guess I don't understand the logic in changing it. If it's good for one, I feel like it should be good for the other.
I like that. That's a good answer. You may not want to share this or not, so I'm just going to ask and you can decline if you want. Do you have a certain percentage that you decide to put away to pay taxes at the end of the year? Or how, I guess, do you decide?
I just calculated out my own percentage for where I live and my tax bracket, and I rounded up a little bit. And so that's the percentage that I hold out of my profits after I pay everyone else, the lease, our supplies, after everything is said and done. That's my cut, and I hold back a percentage based on, again, my situation. I always round up though. We do that for everything though, like even timing.
Round everything.
Yeah, we round everything.
It's safer.
Yeah.
Summer is slow for us a little bit, Emanuela. Nothing like drastic drop off anymore because, as we mentioned earlier, we do try to increase listings just before summer slowdown happens. But yes, dresses do typically sell. We still look for like maxi. We look for colorful. Just kind of give you some ideas there.
Someone said CPA. Yes. Get a CPA.
How many listings per day would you consider to be full time?
Depends on your situation. That's my answer for everything, and that's kind of why we wanted to do a course in mentorship soon, was to tailor more to everyone's individual situation because it is different. But if I had to guess, if you are someone just with the timing that we know, if you're someone who can source in your area, I would say you should be able to source within 2 days. And then if you want to list 3 days and take a lunch, you're working 7 hours each day. I personally feel like you should be able to, at least, at minimum, be able to list 10 an hour. So 70 for those 3 days. And then if you're doing 70 for 3 days, that's 210 items plus be able to source those 210 items within those 2 days. That's how I'd split it. I do think that if, again, big if you're able to source in your area and you don't have to travel, that you'd be capable of doing that. I'm not capable of doing that because I have to drive so far, but
Naomi just said that she had her highest grossing month last July. Whoop, whoop. So hopefully that means summer is going to go well for you this summer.
you know, a lot of, I don't know what you sell, but clothing typically takes a dip. But hard goods resellers do really good in summer.
Yeah, I heard that on another live.
Yeah.
Dusty Old Hat, I know you're gone now, but no, we do not use the hashtag keyword things on Poshmark, the whatever those are, the tags or whatever.
Usually.
We don't use those.
Someone said it takes them all day to list 10 items. Listen, I've been there. I really have.
I struggled so bad. So I'm really ratting myself out now. I don't even know how many I was listing at a time, but I remember, I feel like it was like 10 because I feel like when I first started, we were listing 20 a day, I feel like. And I remember yeah, because we weren't doing weekends at the time. Remember?
Yeah.
We were doing like 10. So I think we were doing like 20 a day. Anyways, yeah, that would add up. So 20 a day. And Cayley would say, okay, we're going to go ahead and list Tuesday. I'm going to take half and I want you to take half. And she was like, and then after that, we're going to do X, Y, Z. And then after that, we're going to do blah, 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 blah. And I'd be like, okay. And she'd leave and I'd be sitting there thinking, this is going to take me all day. And like, I remember running like as fast as I could to get stuff done because I was like panicking that she was going to finish before me. And it made me feel so slow. And like now, if you ask me to do 10 listings, I could have them done in probably like half an hour.
What like, you just did a certain amount the other day by yourself. You want to tell them how much you did? You did a whole day's worth.
Oh, when I did the 45. Yeah, so I did 45. Actually, I did more than that. I did 51. I did 51 photos, drafts, listings, like to completion. And it took me one work day. And I had other things to do.
Yeah, you had a lot of other things. I got to go back on what I said because I didn't account for shipping and customer questions and stuff like that. So maybe not 70 a day, but maybe like 50, I would say 50 a day.
Yeah, I would say 50 would be about right. If I was doing everything in its entirety by myself, I could probably feel comfortably doing 50.
So like 150 a week maybe?
Yeah. And leave myself with some time to do other things. So.
Yeah.
I would say I'm just going to call you Goofy because we're not going to read the rest of this, but look at the screen name. She was like, sorry about the name. It's from a different community. I love it. I think it's great, but I'm just for political correctness, I'm just going to say Goofy. Do you find ASP lower on Posh generally? I would say yes.
Yes.
They are like an offers community. Dies a little inside. Oh, I'm so sorry, guys. That's more than I do in a week. Okay.
It's very hard in the beginning.
It is. And like, I've spent the last 2 weeks at the office because we had a new girl and we were training her. I really struggled, like, not doing other things. Like, I don't hate listing. I don't hate photos. Like, it was nice to kind of get back in it and do it again. That's one thing I will say. If you get employees, I think it is important for you, like, once a month to spend a day doing the things you're asking them to do, just because things change, right? Or, like, there's issues. But it was a lot. And I think over the last, like, 2 weeks that I've been here, this would be going on to week 3, I think I've done probably 300 listings, and like it adds up after a while, and you're at the point where you're like, okay, I'm ready to go out and source again for a little bit.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I definitely like the mixed schedules.
Yeah. And so just to give people some insight, because I feel like there are a lot of people who are commenting and they're like, man, like I don't list that in a week. It is like you're going to be slow in the beginning. I don't want anyone to get on here and think that just all of a sudden we walked into work and we learned how to list and we're able to do that much in one day. But how do you get faster? Like when we hire a new hire, what would you say is their typical per hour of getting a listing done? I think I would say maybe 15 minutes per listing when they're new.
Say that again.
When on average, when we hire a brand new hire, like their first couple of weeks, on average, how long does it normally take them to do an entire listing?
Probably like 10 minutes.
10 minutes?
I noticed like week 1 is about 10 minutes per listing. And then week 2 is about 6 minutes per listing. And it stays at 6 minutes for probably like 2 to 3, 4 weeks ish. And then after that, I'd say that you slowly start seeing improvement where maybe it goes to like 5.5 or 5. And then a couple more weeks pass, and then it goes down to 4.5, and then like we slowly get to where we want them to be.
You're not including photos.
I'm not including photos in that. But I would say just the details, like uploading the photos. The photos are already done. Uploading the photos and filling out the details are about 10 minutes a piece.
Yeah, including photos, probably 15.
Yeah.
So if you think about that, like a new hire is going to get 4 listings done an hour, but after, I mean, some people it takes like 6 months to get to it, but I mean, we've got some people who were quick to start. We've got some people who are slower to start, but they worked really well, and it took some time, but now we have some employees who are doing 45 a day plus some additional things. So don't be too discouraged. I would recommend writing down every step in your process and seeing what's going on and where you could cut time, and give yourself a little grace, I guess, because it does take time to build good habits, and it takes even longer time to break poor habits. All right, someone said I had a hard time listing because I'm not fashion savvy, so I delay on listing in fear of describing the item wrong. Yes. Procrastination, because it's not perfect, is something that I dealt with for a long time. I deal with it in my own personal life, not so much reselling anymore, but I see a lot of people struggling with that. It's better, in my opinion, to just get it up. The only way to be more fashion savvy is to just dig in there, start Googling some things, and figure it out.
Hike my legs.
You think I still am learning fashion stuff. Like, I still don't know everything. We're constantly learning, and we just do our best. Rather get it listed. I answered that top one.
Cayley's stunning. Like, legitimately, she has such a like great fashion sense. Like, she's always very trendy and knows what's upcoming. I literally live in Target t-shirts and jeans that I find thrifting and pray they fit. And if I buy them and they don't fit, then I either list them or donate them down the hall. Like,
I think I'm good at, I don't find myself fashionable, but like knowledge base wise, I feel like I've got it. But that's only because I've been doing it for years.
She's stunning. Don't let her fool you. She's the hottest thing since sliced bread. Can you share? I'm gonna let you parameter me on this, but can you share more about hiring, like how you pay people, incentives for employees, bonuses, etc. So if I start talking and you want me to shut up, you slap me. But
let's not give any detailed numbers or location, but everything else I'm cool with.
So we pay people currently, our people hourly, based on a set schedule each week. Again, we're not talking about how much, but we pay them based on essentially a set amount of hours each week. If they need to take time off, whatever. We do offer some paid time off for them as like an incentive, both sick time and vacation time. We do not offer insurance just because it's pretty difficult when you're so small. Incentives for employees, what we have is like a sliding scale is what I'll call it. It's like we do what we call PEDs, performance excellence discussions, and it's about being like the best of the best and like striving, I guess, to get better. If they're able to do so and they achieve certain ratings on those, then we give them a bonus. And we also have what we're going to call, can I share that one? The 5s?
Yeah, you can. Okay. That's a new thing.
I didn't know if that was too much.
No, it's fine.
Well, we have what we're calling a strive for 5. So on the sliding scale, if they score 5s on everything on the sliding scale, which let me just tell you, it's pretty easy, like attendance, communication, like pretty straightforward stuff, they get a $500 bonus. So we tried to implement that as a way to like encourage them to want to just consistently get better and always put their best foot forward.
It's a quarterly bonus. They have an opportunity to earn it every quarter.
Yeah. We also, when we had sourcing, we used to offer sourcing bonuses and things like that as well, but we don't currently have a paid sourcer anymore.
Yeah.
Not a sorcerer, a sourcer.
We also do performance-based raises.
Yep.
Yeah.
And as I said, we like to have fun days too. Sometimes we go and do crafty things together. Sometimes we go to the movies. Sometimes we get lunch. We always take them out for lunch when we do their evaluations. I don't know.
We do try to incentivize. We try to start by always offering base pay higher. We try to always, I don't think we've ever hired someone at minimum wage, actually.
No.
We always start people higher than minimum wage, and then also tell them based on performance you can get raises. And I don't know, I feel like try to walk the fine line of paying people enough that they can get by, but always wanting them to strive for more, because you don't want to pay someone the top tier and then them to just decide that they're done striving for excellence. You know what I mean? So we do heavily factor in pay rates. We factor in experience. We've had employees who have just really killed it, and we gave them a raise the first month they were here, and
we've had some that quit before they got one.
Yeah. Yeah, so we do try to offer a lot of incentive, and all of those things are all based on performance.
Yeah. Laura, we do not wash clothes before listing them. We are firm believers that people wash their own stuff, and we just don't. That's my quick answer. We just don't. When you make a listing, do you start a fresh new listing that is completely yours, or do you use similar? We generally, unless it's a specific item, will always just start our own listings.
We do take the details that are always going to be the same, like we have a description template essentially, so that will be filled in. And we also fill in what our normal dimensions are on shipping. Anything that we can fill in that's usually the same, we do use what I'm going to just call a template when we bulk create drafts. But we don't sell similar. We get too worried that stuff will be left on that doesn't apply to the listing, although we have considered it in the past, doing the sell similar method.
Kelly Dawn has a death mountain. Should I stop sourcing until that pile is smaller?
Yes.
I wouldn't say gone. Don't stop sourcing until it's gone. Stop sourcing until you have like a couple week buffer of extra items. But if you want help getting rid of your death mountain,
gotta be high sell-through rate items. I saw someone ask how big the warehouse is, just because it's so quick to answer. We have a 2,000 square foot open space.
Cayley says, no matter Cayley. Why did I find that so funny? Sorry. No matter what I do, I can't stay consistent. Any tips? Set a schedule. That's my tip. Write out a formal, get a to-do weekly schedule. Block out work time, and you have to complete X amount of items in that time.
I really struggled with that in the beginning. I'm just going to tell you what worked for me. And
it's up to you if you think you can make it.
What worked for me...
It's 11:20. You can probably make it. You'd be all right.
Okay. What worked for me was giving myself a challenge.
Maybe Jordan
and saying, I'm going to list
help you load
X amount of items per day. At the time, it was only 10 listings, and it was really hard for me. And I told myself I'm going to time myself. And for some reason, the combination of challenging myself to do that for 5 days a week and timing myself, that really opened my eyes on how inefficient I was. Because I realized in an hour, I could get all 10 listings done, but it was taking me all day. And the combination of timing myself and challenging myself and just forcing myself to do it for a week, everything clicked, because I was like, oh, I could be getting this done in an hour every day and have the rest of the day to myself. That for me is what kicked my butt into gear for consistency. Not saying it's going to be the same for you, but you might try timing yourself, because when you time yourself, you're forced to be focused. Yeah. You're forced Like there's something that happens in your brain where you're like, okay, I've got to time myself, so I want to do it in the least amount of time possible to actually get a true idea. And it just forces you to be so focused. So I would say try to challenge yourself to do it for a week, and then tell yourself, if I do it for an entire week and things still aren't working out, then I can stop. But more than likely you're going to continue doing it after that, because you'll see how quickly it can get done.
I like it. Joyous Vintage says that she is switching winter items to unavailable on Poshmark to reduce the number of active items so I don't run out of reshare max too soon. What are your thoughts?
I
just send them.
Yeah, we don't do any specific things like that. To me, it takes too much time that I could just be listing more items. That's my method. It doesn't mean if it works for you, you shouldn't do that, but I can't see myself doing that, because I would just rather get more listings up than take the time to mess with all that.
Dusty Old Hat, I know you're gone, but we do sometimes go to the bins. There is one semi-close that we go to. We've actually run into a couple of our YouTubers from. We do go there occasionally, though we have not been there in quite a while.
Someone challenged me on Instagram. They were like, have you ever been to such and such bins? And I was like, yeah, but it's been a while. And they were like, new video idea? And I was like, maybe. I was like, we haven't been in a while.
Pray for me.
No, we haven't been in a while.
How do y'all full-timers handle medical insurance? I'm married, so I just have mine through my husband.
Yeah, a lot of people get it through their spouse. I just buy mine outright through the health marketplace. It's not as outrageous as you think. It's definitely more expensive than going through like a company, but it's not as outrageous as people make it out to be.
How long should you wait between running sales? You do yours what, once a month? Both eBay and eBay you run coupons, but
yeah, I drop prices and send out offers. We honestly don't do a lot of sales. Something we probably should start doing. I just used Posh VA to do this. That's the only reason I did it, was because I could use Posh VA in 5 minutes to do it. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't have. But on Poshmark, I sent out 50% offers on our jackets, coats, and sweaters to move out older inventory. And it worked. We moved quite a few items out of there.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking about doing it as seasons change, quarterly, for the categories that are going out of season. But in general, we don't really run sales necessarily. We just have constant offers going on.
Yep. I think you should have a space and time. Just because a lot of people are talking about consistently getting discounts. If they know, if a buyer follows your store, they know that maybe every month you discount significantly. Like, I don't know, this would be absurd, but like say 50%. Nobody's going to buy it in that first 30 days because they know they're going to get the discount. It's like if you went to, I don't know, I'm going to just pick like J. Crew, right? If you actually shopped in J. Crew and you knew that all their new styles came out on the 1st of the month, but then at the end of the month, they had a 50% off sale. Nobody's going to get, well, I can't say nobody, but the majority of people are going to wait until that last day and just hope that they can get something with the discount.
True.
So just something to kind of think about.
Hobby Lobby's like that.
Yeah.
It's like half of their store is discounted, and that people know, well, I'll just wait till next week because they flip-flop it.
Yeah.
Like, they're known for that.
Yeah. Do you ever use promotions, like promoted listings, not just sales or markdowns?
Not usually. Sometimes I do it for really old items to shake things up, but not really, no. I believe if it's a good item, it should sell without being promoted.
Agree. Sapphire, an answer to your question is yes, it is possible that part of the reason why you weren't finding things is because you aren't as knowledgeable yet. Not everything you find are going to be bolos either. So you mentioned specifically you didn't find many of the brands that we always mention as bolos. You might not. That's why the comping method is so important, is because there might be decent items there that you're able to pick up. They probably aren't going to have as high of a profit value as what those bolos are, but definitely could be some good items there if you rely on the comping method.
And depending on where you live, you might not even have access to the same brands that we do. There's brands like out in like Colorado, let's say, those people find Patagonia all the time. It's like bread and butter for them. But here it's not. In Florida, you might find a lot of Lily Pulitzer. It just really goes with the climate and where these warehouses are located at. So it doesn't work to only follow thrift hauls from people on YouTube and try to do that. You have to comp the things in your area. And that's why we always suggest focusing on valuable factors versus the brand, because then you can figure out brands in your area that are worth it.
Yes. All of our items are set to just auto relist. We don't have like a where we have to end and relist. We just have them set to like auto renew. We do pick up the brand Flax in full linen items, although I will tell you Flax is very seasonal, so you definitely want to get those listed soon. I know you mentioned that you haven't gotten around to researching them or listing them. I would 100% put those beforehand. I found a flax skirt last fall when we were doing like a funny video, and we literally kept that until like next spring because it just is not desirable out of season. So I would get those listed ASAP. We already talked about how we find the new color at Goodwill.
Someone said practice, patience, and consistency. It takes time.
Yes.
For sure.
What is the minimum amount of listings a day do you think is okay to schedule ahead? You could do 1, you could do 10. The biggest thing is consistency. So if you're going to list 10 a day normally, then I would plan on scheduling 10 a day ahead of time as well. Just to keep it maintained is the biggest thing. If you're at a point where you don't have a lot to schedule ahead of time, I would make sure that you, like, say you're doing 10 a day, that you hold those 10 until you're ready. Maybe schedule them for like a really far out date. Then you've got them to kind of fill in as needed. The crappy thing about scheduling ahead or getting ahead is that you have to really put in a lot of, I'm trying to think of a politically correct way, but you have to really just haul butt to get stuff done, really put in a lot of extra effort to get ahead. I think the whole point of scheduling ahead is that you want to be able to step out of your business when you need to be able to, and still be listing and staying on items. So if you only have 3 items and you're scheduled, that's not going to cover a whole day, then you're not where you need to be quite yet as far as scheduling goes, if that makes sense.
Someone said they're going to go list that flax now.
Yes. Do you have any advice for how to stay active while away without employees? Do I put my closet on hold or suck it up, or is it reasonable to teach someone to ship? I don't know if you have a partner or a mom or a dad or a friend, but I definitely think it would be reasonable to teach somebody to ship if you're stepping away.
Yeah, I think it'd be reasonable. If you can't find someone, I would say just set it on vacation mode, because you can still sell items while it's on vacation mode. It's just you won't be shipping them out. And then I can't remember, but because we haven't had to turn on vacation mode for what? Ever. For years. But if you did, I feel like you can still set stuff active. So like on eBay, I think you can have time away, but I think you can still be scheduling ahead and have things go active. The other method is changing your handling time every single day. That way you can still offer new items and your handling time window gets smaller. But I personally just say go on vacation mode, try to schedule ahead so that stuff's still going active, try to respond to your questions. But if you can find someone to help you ship, that'd be a gem right there.
Yes.
We are almost an hour and a half in, so we are going to try to get through these. I'm not sure how far we are, but
we got a ways still, so we're going to speedball.
We're going to speedball.
We do not have a video on starting the listing in the store with us, but we do have a spreadsheet which is available on her Zyro store. Is that where you find it, right?
Yeah, there's a link. If you guys go to the description box, there's a Linktree And right above it, it says all my links are here. Literally everything's there. I also saw someone ask about an eBay store review. It's $50. It's a pretty in-depth review though, personalized for your store. Also in the Linktree if you want to find it.
So we use a sourcing spreadsheet. We don't start the listings there. Just because again, we like to be so far ahead. So if we are ahead, then those items would sit in drafts too long and they would go corrupt. So we do not do that. Yes, please hit the like button if you guys are here and like what we are giving you information on. We do not end listings and relist back on eBay. Do you have any advice for how to stay Oh, just kidding. That was the same question. We already talked about that. Do you have any idea of how or where I can get merchandise delivered to my house to resell?
I've been getting this question a lot, I think because we've been doing so many buyouts, but no, we do not have the secret sauce supplier to give to you guys. And if we did, I'm sorry, but you would protect that supplier. You wouldn't give it out. I don't currently buy from a website. I do have a person that sources for me out of state. She is not currently taking other clients to my knowledge, but I think she was thinking about that possibly in the future. If that happens and she wants me to share it, then I will. But we don't have any secret website or anything like that.
Just as a reminder, if it takes us a while to get to your questions, we're not trying to ignore you. It just takes us a minute. So I know I've seen a lot of repeat questions. We are a little bit behind on questions.
So there's over 200 people watching. So if you imagine everyone's commenting, that's how many comments we have to go through to get to a question. So it can be a little delayed.
Thanks, Trina, for putting the question in there too, adding that back. That makes it a lot easier for us as well. I am just starting as a reseller. What is a good selling timeline for items that I'm listing? If I list an item that has 100% sell-through rate, should I expect to sell that item within 3 months?
Yes.
Yes.
As long as it's listed correctly and you priced it correctly. If you priced higher than everyone else, then people are going to buy your competitor stuff. So you want to make sure pricing is a big part of that. You want to make sure you're within market.
Veronica says she has 300 items in her closet on Posh and sells about 30 items a week. In your opinion, does that sound like it's good or bad?
Good.
Yeah, sounds good. When you say you list 10 an hour, does that include taking or editing pics? 10 an hour,
yes,
would include pics and editing pics.
I think 10 is a really good baseline for people to achieve. If you can get to 15 or 20, like you're top notch, but I think 10 is a really solid, like efficient baseline. You know you're doing something right if you can get to 10 an hour. That includes everything.
Do you leave buyer feedback on eBay?
Not usually.
How many items do you fill out on eBay? How many item specifics do you fill out on eBay? Do you feel it is necessary to be doing as many as they want below the required piece?
We fill out as many as we can that are relevant, that we can answer honestly. Yes. Some things I don't feel are relevant, like character.
Yeah.
Like if you don't think a buyer's actually going to be searching those things, then just skip it. But like if people are searching for a top, they are going to want to know the sleeve length. They are going to want to know the color. They are going to want to know the collar, the V-neck or whatever.
Yeah.
So like print pattern, like there are things that people do look for in a search. Are they searching for character? Are they searching for theme? Probably not. So those would be the things that we would skip, but we fill out as much as we can that is true to the item, and we skip anything that isn't.
Just as a reminder, just because I can do so many doesn't mean that you have to be able to do them either. I see a lot of people saying that like they're dying inside. That's not my goal. Sorry, I stepped on your toes.
You're good.
That's obviously not the goal. The biggest thing is like getting through the efficiency piece and figuring out where you guys are at. And then kind of decide from there what works best for you. it all depends on your area and how many, like how your items are set up. You may or may not be able to do as many, but if you cut out everything extra, then maybe you'll be able to do some more. I keep trying to tell Cayley to let me just jump on planes and fly places and help people, but she won't let me yet. So
Yeah, she gets paid to help my business. But we do have some stuff coming up where she will be more available to help you guys, and hopefully that will help. It's not traveling to your city and going through your store, though.
not yet.
Not yet.
Not yet. Maybe eventually. Do you ever find that you can price items higher on Posh than on eBay? We do typically price them a little bit higher just to allow for offers, but I feel like most times we sell things, it's right about in line of what we would sell on eBay.
Yeah, I feel like there are a couple of brands that are more valuable on Poshmark just from their buyer base, but they're far and few in between.
We do not wash every single item. Yes. Cayley, if y'all need to hear this again, Cayley is not lying. She is actually part of the Daily Refinement group.
Is that up again?
It is up
Dude,
again.
people were mad in the comments. They were like, it is a cult. And then there are some people who are a part of the group and they're like, you know what, it is kind of like a cult. And I was like, yeah, I mean, I guess. But it's with everything. Just because you don't like one thing somebody does not mean that you have to listen to everything that they say. But there still could be valuable information, guys. Like, I'm sure that we've ticked people off. I'm sure we've even given bad advice before.
Oh yeah.
But you don't have to take in everything that we say, and that's why we try to say so much. It really depends on your business model. If you're not following the same business model that I am, then my advice is going to be bad for you. But if you're trying to have the same business model, you know, a group like Daily Refinement can be really great for consistency, for accountability. But if you're not the kind of person that wants consistency and accountability, probably not the group for you. But I just thought it was so funny. I've gotten so many comments about that recently.
Yeah. Melissa, we were editing photos originally and doing like background removal. Honestly, we used phones. S10s, I believe. I don't know what they are.
They're older.
Yeah, they're older versions of Samsungs. And we just use those. We have just like, y'all can't see, but just like regular like LED lighting in the ceiling, just typical lighting. We were using ring lights. We were using background remover, umbrella lights, everything. And we actually found that it looks better if we just don't do any of it. So,
and we get a lot more done.
Yeah, we get a lot more done. We're not tripping over stuff. So, what is the quickest way you found to create listings? I feel like I can't get my speed up to be more productive.
Do things in bulk.
Yes. How long would you say it took until you got faster to do listings?
Years.
I would say 6 months.
It was like I said before, that telling myself I'm going to time myself and figure out how long it actually should be taking me. And I forced myself for a week to do 10 listings every single day, no matter what. And that was the defining moment for me, because up until then, things do come with practice, but honestly, I think most people would be 2 times faster if they could just force themselves to be undistracted. I think that is the biggest issue with speed, is people are way too distracted. They let little things bother them, where they have a TV on in the background. They don't realize how much that's ruining their speed. So I think if you could find a way to be completely undistracted consistently, your speed would automatically double. And then within that just comes practice. The practice piece, I would say probably a good 6 months if we hire a new hire.
Yeah.
Would you say?
Yeah, I was thinking the most important thing I can tell you to do if you're struggling with speed with listing is find out what part of the listing you're struggling with the most. I'm kind of calling on our new girl for a second, but she struggles the most with titles and keywords. It's where she feels the most uncomfortable. So as she's doing photos this week, we were shouting out, okay, this is the item. What are the descriptive words? What would you put in your title? Okay, now let's go into keywords. What is something that's going to go in your keyword section? If you're the same way, do that in this thrift store, right? You pick it up. Okay, I don't know. I'm going to pick something random.
Lily Pulitzer dress,
right? So you're like, okay, well, this is a maxi length. I'm going to put it in there. It's colorful. I'm going to put multicolored. It's V-neck, I'm going to put that in there. Those are your description words, right? Those are all going to go in your title. Then you go over to your keywords and say, okay, well, it's preppy, it's beach, it's ocean, it's summer, it's vacation. Like, it's just rapid fire. Once you do that enough in the store, one, you're picking it up, so you're going to already have put some of the thought process into it. When you get to it again, you're going to be like, oh, I already did this in the store. Like, it goes a lot faster. Also, it's going to make you feel a little bit more confident because you're doing them in the store. So
you're saying if there's something that they know they struggle with, whether it's that or something else, to try to find a way to get ahead of it.
Yeah. Get ahead of it, think about it, really work through it, like, as you're actively sourcing. Not like typing it in, like you don't have to do the listing ahead of time. But if you just start thinking about stuff and shopping that way more and thinking more about it as you're shopping, I think that'll make a difference. So, or even when you're photographing it, like hanging it up and you're doing the photos, like, oh, I could put beach on this one. I could put ocean. I could put multicolored. Like, just start working through the thinking process of that listing while you're working on it, whether it's cleaning it, whether it's photographing it, whether it's packaging it, whatever it is, think of all the details that you can about it before you actually get to the listing.
That's a good call.
I just messed the chat up again. Every time.
If you guys have any more questions, put them in now because we are about to get off of here. We're going to answer any remaining questions and then we got to go.
Okay, we're back where we were. Any tips for the bins?
Bring a helmet. I'm just kidding.
That is not a joke.
I would say don't get into the frenzy that everyone else gets into. A lot of people will jump. We do like going to the new bins, but like, be more thorough than everyone else. People will jump like literally bin to bin to bin to bin to bin. They miss tons of stuff. So like, don't get in too much of a hurry. Like, be okay going through an entire bin, because that's how we found the best stuff, because people are in too much of a hurry and they miss a ton of stuff. They're not thorough. So that would be my suggestion. What about you for the bins?
I just go and stay away from everybody, honestly. Like, I just go in my little area and search through things piece by piece, kind of stay out of like the really chaotic areas. I feel like if I search through new bins, I don't find things. So like, I typically just try to kind of go in my own place, go piece by piece on my own, do my own thing. And I don't know, I think the biggest thing I would tell somebody is to be very thorough. I think people miss a lot. So that's like my one bins strategy.
Yeah.
Somebody just asked, oh, I lost it. Oh, how many percent wise, what percentage do you think of your buyers are repeat buyers?
We actually have that number. It's not very many. It's probably like not even 10%. Like probably 5%.
We also, I don't remember who asked, but we also recommend calculated shipping. That's what we do. So if you're picking a shipping option, we always recommend calculated. Sarah Norman wants to know how you did the 50% off for the coats and sweater sale.
I used my Posh VA extension. I went on to like my actual Poshmark page. I filtered down within my own closet. So I went to like the category, I went to women's, and then coats and jackets, and then I did available. And then when I went to my Posh VA extension, you can choose from subset from page, which means you're telling it whatever's on this page right now, that's what I want you to drop. And I also filtered out anything that was listed within the last 60 days. Because I feel like if we picked it up recently, that we probably did the comp on that, even a sweater or coat, and it still comped well. So I excluded that out of there. And then I chose, drop by 50%, all that stuff. And then I just hit go. So subset from page is how you can do that.
What would you say is your best thrifting find in the last week? I haven't been thrifting, so it has to be you.
I really honestly don't know.
Probably that Ming Wang. No, that Misuk. Exclusively Misuk.
Oh, that's a good one.
Lot. If you guys are on TikTok, there's videos of it.
Yeah, I honestly haven't been finding any like rare bolos lately. But I did just find 10 10, you guys, 10 in a row, exclusively Masuk knit like blazer jacket things. And those go for, I would say, an average of at least $50. So I found those in like 2 minutes. So that's $500 right there. All right there. It was like somebody's collection. So yeah.
Yeah,
But
it's probably a quick, good find.
we thrift so much, like I honestly don't know. I'd have to look back on the sheet.
Katarzyna, we do still sometimes pick up cut from the cloth and can jeans, depending on size and depending on the style. Not all of them are top notch. I would recommend really doing the research on them, but yes, there are some that are still good. If the time ever comes that I get to go places, Colorado would definitely be on my list. I would love to go there. And
I
yes,
go to the bins there.
yes. Little Miss Nat, you can always jump on the plane and come here. 100%. Yeah. You ever want to come visit me here, you come visit me here. We will show you around where we thrift and drive. But yes, 100%. We also really want to come back to Texas and spend time with you. So maybe that'll come sometime too. A lot of people are asking for a video on listing fast. So we definitely need to do that.
Okay.
And people want to have a meetup with us. We should do an Ohio meetup in a pre-arranged location where people could come meet with us and like have lunch, like a conference.
I definitely want to do that someday. It's a lot of work. You even have to get insurance for stuff like that because we don't know how many people will show up.
Yeah.
And, you know,
it'd be fun. I would have a blast.
We want to do something like that.
Also, I have to
someday
thrift a bunch ahead of time because all you people will come.
That's true.
And then I will have nothing. Actually, we need to do it, but do it in a different city.
Do it in Pennsylvania. Ruin someone else's week.
Yeah, do it like close, like somewhere where we could fly and then come back. So that way it didn't mess with our regular stuff.
We definitely want to do stuff like that. There are just so many moving pieces to it.
Jackie, we do not turn on offers on eBay unless it's like a one-off, but not saying people don't still message us and say, could I have this for $5? Because they do.
Every day. Looks like we're getting to the end.
Yeah.
Ooh. I do not know how you keep up with this chat.
Girl,
I
I'm
really
so
don't.
Good. Professional.
Oop, I see a bunch of question marks, but I don't see a question.
Natasha. I have item. Oh, I have it here. We're not at the end yet. Hold on. I was just almost there. If there was one type of clothing. Sorry, I'm just making sure I'm not missing anything. Natasha said, I have items that I've gotten before learning how to comp that have a low price return and sell-through rate. Would you recommend redonating it and not wasting my time? Honestly, I feel like that's a case-for-case basis on the item. We have gone through like buyouts with people where we've purchased things. And if I was going to list something and only going to get $10 and it had a bad sell-through rate, I would 100% probably just donate it, in all honesty, especially if there's a lot of items. If it's like one or two and like, I don't know if you've listened to any of the factor stacking videos we've had. If it's like one or two, it doesn't sell for a lot or have necessarily a good sell-through rate, but it has a lot of the factors that you think you could sell, and it's like a couple items, you could probably still list them. But if it's a lot, low pricing and low sell-through rate, I think I would probably just take the donation, get the tax write-off, and move forward.
I think those things are like heavier in your mental space than they are in your physical space, and I think getting rid of them would probably feel like a huge weight off your shoulders. You could try the price drop method, which is what we do, but once it hits a certain price, like if you've dropped the price on it over and over again, like those things just need to go.
Yeah. A lot of people are saying they want to do meetups with us.
I saw the waivers comment.
Yeah. Do a waiver so that we don't have to worry about insurance.
Guys, we can't even be consistent on lives every week. What makes you think we're going to be able to do that?
Because that's just a one-time thing. Like, I can handle this. You give me the go-to, I will handle it. I will find a hotel. We could let people block out hotel rooms. We could do, like, a boot camp kind of thing. We could do some listing together. It would be fun. We should
I'm
do
not
it.
disagreeing with you or saying I don't want to do it. I just don't think we have the time right now.
We don't have the time yet, but
Soon.
our new girl's here, and she's pretty great. So the time will
It's
be
coming.
coming eventually. If someone was just starting, how much of a starter fund would you recommend they have?
Again, kind of depends on your area. I would, if it were me, I would probably calculate how much you want to pay them, multiply that by the hours, like if they're full time, multiply by 40, and then I would say probably to have set back like a month's worth maybe of their wages, like 4 weeks worth. That way, you're good, because the reality of it is you might spend all your time training that person for them to leave in 4 weeks too, and then you got to do it all over again. And I feel like that's enough of a buffer, having a month's worth of wages that like you're going to be pretty set and solid.
Kathy's going to be the last question.
Okay.
Kathy, I don't know how to say your last name, sorry.
Well,
what would you do if a buyer disputes an item is authentic? I'm not touching this. I would cry. That's what I would do. And then I would text Cayley and say, help.
Unfortunately, I don't think that there's much that you can do. On Poshmark, they're usually pretty good. Like, they have an authentication process over a certain amount, but if it's under a certain amount and they buy it, I feel like Poshmark's pretty good holding their end of the bargain and saying, you knew what it looked like, XYZ, like, you've got to keep it. On eBay, they will back up the buyer. So I really don't feel like there's anything you can do, honestly. I would probably just accept a return if they haven't already created a case on you. I would accept a return and pray that they didn't choose like item not as described, or send them a whatever. Try to get the return in place. But ultimately, I don't think that there's much that you can do. You just move on from it. And in the future, my strategy is I try not to pick up luxury items for that reason, because it can be too much to deal with. We send those things off to the real.
Tammy, we are top rated sellers, but we do not do free returns. So I'm not sure.
Do.
Oh, that's not what I meant. I was thinking free shipping.
Oh.
I don't know. I was like, we do not do free shipping. We do free returns. I don't know why I was thinking that was free shipping. And I was like, I don't know how that's a thing now. I almost asked her if that was new. We do free returns. And honestly, I think for the amount that we get back, like, it's not detrimental. I think we look this up every time. It's like 4% return rate, which is not bad.
Someone said they had a St. John return. Someone claimed it was an authentic. I mean,
and Poshmark approved return. That's odd.
You just got to move on with it. Yes, someone commented, everybody, please take a moment to give some love to our moderators.
Yes.
Because they don't get paid to do this. They here just out of the kindness of their hearts to help everyone and help us. And they're dropping links, they're banning trolls, they're interacting with you guys and trying to get to your questions quickly. So we really appreciate you guys. The bigger the channel grows, the bigger the live chats grow, and it's a lot to keep up with, honestly. Yes. Like, I'm looking at her, she does this every week. I never interact with the chat usually. I get lost, but like, even I don't know how she does it. I really don't. It spins and spins and it drives me nuts. So like, you guys are the best. So give some love to the moderators. Make sure to tell them thank you. See some thank you mods, but they're doing God's work in the chat.
God's work in the chat. I have to read this and then we need to go. But okay. Joyce Vincent said, imagine mobbing your Goodwills with hundreds of resellers. I'm dying of laughter at the thought. And I can just imagine. And that would be awesome. So, yeah. All right. Well, we are going to get out of here. But we do appreciate you guys. And we will see you guys next Monday.
Bye.
Bye. Love you.